weighted averages is because you don't have the raw data. You've got data that have weights or frequencies attached to them. Weighted average is a term we've adopted from other sources. I mean, I don't know why they're not called frequency averages, but they're just called weighted averages. So whenever, there's no why I put that. Whenever you have grouped data, so if your data comes to you in an XF format, somebody here called that a T-table, I think, right? Yeah, T-table. Wait. Riley. Okay, good. Riley called it a T-table. I love that. Whenever you've got data in a T-table like this, you have to deal with an average that's weighted, or a median that's weighted, or a mode that's weighted. So you have to go with that weight. And I think we discussed. Now this is, of course, if you want an average. Sometimes you don't want an average. Sometimes you just want to look at the data, and that's okay too. We'll learn that as we go. That's a big part of, maybe not today. We might get to that on Monday. We'll see how time goes. But if you do have your data given to you in some kind of a T-chart, you have to deal with those weights. The second column, the F column, the weights are excruciatingly important. If you ignore them, you ignore the characteristic of your data. I mean, imagine if we just ignored the entire curve on that bell curve I just showed you. Now, in general, it won't work. In that one, you actually could ignore it because the average is directly in the middle at 10. You would have gotten lucky with that. But in general, if the shapes of the data are different, if there are more low values than high values, you're about to see why you can't just ignore those frequencies. Soon. We'll get to that soon. Okay. What's probably the most important weighted average to you guys at this point in your lives? Your grades, your GPA. How many of you calculated a GPA before? Oh! There's like 5 of you. That's fantastic. By hand? No. Yeah? No? Use GradTrax? GradTrax does it, I think. I think in GradTrax you can actually... Yeah, GradTrax is pretty badass. It gives you your GPA. It'll also do something. It'll calculate what you have to get on average for your next few terms to get a certain GPA at the end. Pretty slick. We're going to analyze the math in a quiz on that in a couple weeks. There's some neat math behind that as well. So anyway, a GPA is a perfect example of a weighted average. Let's do one more. Let's do one more example using a GPA. For those of you that have never calculated your GPA before, this might be an eye-opening experience for you. So here's an example of a weighted average, a grade point average. GPA, grade point average. You ever wonder why there aren't any grade point medians or grade point modes? You ever wonder that? I have a story to go with that. We'll talk about it later. It got a kid a scholarship. We'll talk about that in a moment. Grade point average. Let's make up a schedule for a student, shall we? What classes should we take?
Biology.
Of course we should take stats. The first person always says stats. I love that in every class. So statistics. Biology. Writing. Chemistry. God. Total fit. There. We'll make it 4. And we can make this as many as we need. We can make these be as many classes as we need. Okay, so those are the classes that we took. Classes. How did we do? How do we do? Grades. Let's say we got the grade. We failed stats. Let's not quite fail. Let's maybe get a C. There we go. C plus. C. That's the first word. C in stat. Usually A. That's okay. Learned a lot about this class today. Bio, how we do?
C minus.
C minus. Let's give him an A. What's up with this averageness? C.
B.
Writing. B. Writing B.
B
Total
plus.
fit.
A.
Everybody take total fit in here?
Yeah.
HHP 185 TF.
Can you fail
It's
it?
fantastic. You can fail it.
Oh, yeah.
You stop going. You fail it.
It's like trampolining, man. If you stop bouncing.
What's your grade
You're not
point?
trampolining anymore.
This term. What is your grade point this term? 3.6. Let's take some guesses. Guesses. 3.6. Was that 3.67 or 3.6? I didn't quite hear it.
I think 3.4.
3.6, 3.4,
3.4, yeah.
3.25,
3.14.
3.14. That was cute.
Oh, how many? Wait. We need to know the credits.
Ah! You all are throwing numbers out. Essentially, and I said guess.
Yeah, you need to know the
But
credits.
Scott
otherwise-
now has brought up a very, very important point, is that these classes are not weighted the same.
Yeah.
Now, good. This is why this is worth doing out. So, these classes carry a certain credit load. They carry a certain credit load. How many credits is stats class? 4. You know what that means? Like, you know why it's 4? I just learned this relatively recently. We spend about 4 hours together every week in class. That's why it's 4 credit hours. I just learned that relatively recently.
Isn't it also like it's a cumulative that you need like, you know, hours outside of class? So 2 hours within class.
Sure,
2
sure,
hours
but that
outside.
4 is actually tied to class.
Oh, is it?
For this is for math. It is. Bio.
4.
Is it 4?
5.
Okay. 4, 5.
5. Depending on your upper.
It depends. Make it 4.
200 levels 5.
It's cool. Make it 4. Make it 5. Make it 5.
Yeah, make it 5. Let's see this.
We'll make it 5. It's all. Relax. It's cool. It's all theoretical.
Levels 5.
We're learning the nuts and bolts. It's theoretical. It's okay. Don't get in a fist fight. You two settle down.
101 is 4.
I'll separate you.
0, 1.
They are separate.
Writing?
4.
That is 4 now, isn't it? They changed that relatively recently. Total fit?
1.
The hardest one writing you will ever have in your life.
4,
Yes. Now,
The 300 level
what?
is 4.
Scott, let it go. It's all good. You two separate. I'll turn this car around.
I just took it here.
It's all good. It's all good. Let it go. Now, why do we need to know that? Now, first of all, we can't calculate anything right now. Because you guys were throwing this 3, 6, 3, 4, 3, 2, 5. These all look like B's to me, right? Like a little bit past halfway of B, a little bit below a B. Next thing we have to do is we have to convert your grade into a number, which is, I don't know where that practice started, probably England, Roy. So we have to convert your C plus, your A, your B, and your A into a number. Okay? So the 4-point scale is what we're slave to. So the A's are going to be 4s, yes?
Yes.
The A's are going to be 4s. The B
3.
is going to be a 3. The C plus,
2.5.
2.3. Yeah, the pluses and minuses are 1/3 of a point each. So if you're at an A, you're at a 4. An A minus is 3.67. A B plus is 3.33. A B is 3. A B minus is 2.67. A C plus is 2.33. That's where we're at here. This is why I don't give minuses when I give you guys your final grades. I only give you pluses. Because that helps your GPA, doesn't hurt it. Go ahead, Faith.
Well, no, like, so since you can't get and you can get an A minus B, what would an A plus be?
Doesn't exist, so you can't.
It
Yeah.
doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist because they won't go above 4.
How do people get over 4.0?
They can't in this system.
Oh, okay.
They can in other systems. I think this isn't a universal across all schools. I used to work at a high school on the East Coast that offered AP credit, and those classes were out of a grade of 5. I think. I could be completely making that up. It was out of a higher number. I know that. A couple nods that also. So Riley, go. It was the way it was. David said, yeah, absolutely.
At CSCC Bio is 4 credits.
It's for. We're not starting it. I will turn this car around.
I just looked it up.
It's okay, Riley. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
200 levels 5.
I appreciate.
200 levels 5.
I'm losing the car. It doesn't matter because the math doesn't care. We can make it -6 credits. It doesn't matter because the math is irrelevant. The math's the important part. The credits themselves are just there for discussion's sake. Now, exactly. How do you calculate your GPA now? Add what up? Tell me your name again.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Do you add up all the like 2.34 and then divide by 4?
So this plus this plus this plus this
Yeah.
divide by 4.
No.
You could do that if what?
If they were all the same credit.
If all your credits were the same, you could do that. So if you had a bunch of 4-credit classes, that would be okay because they'd all be weighted the same. But they're not all weighted the same. That's the catch, right? You have to somehow tie in the weights, which are called credits. This is, if you will, Tara, I want to hear from you in a second. If you will, this is your X column,
And that's our F.
and this is your, and here's Riley's T table. It's our T table again, right? Tara, go.
You multiply the 2, right?
Don't you have to, right? You gotta say, okay, I got a C plus, which is a 2.33. I gotta multiply that by 4. I wanna come across the board over here. To my X times F column, which is gonna be 8, 9, and some change.
9.32.
32, thank you. 9.32. 4 times 5 gives me 20. 3 times 4 gives me 12.
4.
4 times 1, thank you.
Can't figure it out.
Those used to be called something. Back in the days when they would give you a printed report card or a transcript, at my school those were called quality points. Because they varied depending on what you got in the class. Everybody had the same credit attached to their grade, but the value of that credit was different. Please,
And
please.
they still count our quality.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, they are on the transcripts. You're absolutely correct. Linda.
Alicia.
Alicia, damn it, Alicia, Andrea. Andrea, Alicia. Okay, we're gonna get that. I've got like 18 Lindas. That's my modal guess if I don't know somebody's female's name. Linda? I've got like 18 Lindas this term. So I use statistics. Sometimes it doesn't work. Okay. Now what do? Add those up, yes? So let's sum up the quality points, the XFs. 16, 36, 45.32. Did I do that right? Okay. You've made that many quality points. On average, how many quality points do you have? What do you have to do next?
Divide by the total.
Class.
Yes, we have to figure out the credits. How many credits did the student take this term?
14.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot, isn't it? It's not a lot? That's not, okay. Oh,
I think it's a lot.
okay. Well, it's also a loaded question. Is it a lot? You have to define what a lot is, right? It might be a lot for some people, not a lot for the others. It's a very subjective term. So your GPA is going to be the sum of those quality points over the sum of your credits. Is it okay to keep using these sums? It's a nice shorthand. It comes in real handy for us. So you're going to have 45.32 over the 14 credits, which comes out to about what?
3.237.
3.237. We'll call that 3.24 because I think they gave you 2 decimal places. There we go. That's how you calculate a GPA. So somebody actually came damn close to 3.25. There we go. But the thing about it is, it's really easy just to look at the 4 or 5 letter grades and kind of ballpark. Well, that A cancels that C, right? It's really easy to do that, and it's okay to do that so long as that A and that C are weighted the same. But you know, you might kick butt in total fit, right? You might kick butt in total fit, but that's only 1 credit class. Also, remember, I hate to bring this back up because I took the car around again, but you guys kept saying, this is 4 credits, no it's 5, no it's 4. Well, if that was 4, your GPA is actually going to drop a little bit now, isn't it? Because you're going to lose one of those A quality point credit loads that you had before. Who's that? I saw a hand, I'm sorry. Tell me your name again.
Trinity.
Trinity, go.
So if you are close to a 4.0,
Good for you.
Your GPA can really only go down, it can't go up.
That's one of my biggest gripes about the importance placed on a GPA. It's just like an average speed. If you're training for a race and you want to run at a certain average speed, it's really easy to lose that average speed. It's hard to gain it back once you lost it. Yeah, because there is a ceiling on it, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a ceiling. It's not like you can go above it and then cancel out some lows. So a former student, 243, about 4 or 5 years ago, I had him in class a number of times. He kicked butt. He just did great. He worked his butt off, just like you guys do. Worked his butt off, did really, really well. And he approached me after the class was over and he said, look, I'm applying for this scholarship. It was a really cool scholarship. It was like a study on a boat. Like it was a semester aboard. Not like abroad, but aboard. It was really, really cool. But he's like, they've looked at my GPA and it sucks. I'm like, dude, how could it suck? You kicked butt. He's like, yeah, my first 2 terms here, I had a rough transition from high school to college and just tanked. And he essentially had what Trinity just described. His GPA started low and then he tried to bring it out of the cellar. But even after 2 years of going here, he hadn't gotten, think about it. A similar event happened to me in 2nd grade. I think I told you guys about this. We had spelling tests every week, out of 100. One day my teachers thought me and my friend Matt were cheating, took my test away, we got zeros. At 2nd grade, I knew that I was at 100 and that 0 knocked me down and it would take me months to get back up. Traumatized for life right there. Half the stats right there. So the same thing happened to my former student. So he asked me, he's like, dude, you're a stat guy. Is there anything you could do to tell the committee mathematically that I'm doing better? I'm like, you showed them your entire transcript, right? Yep, they've seen it. They know that I'm doing better now. I'm like, yeah, I got this. So I made a GPM1 and a GPM2, a grade point median and a grade point mode. I recalculated all of the stuff, his entire transcript, modal and median wise versus average wise. And the reason is, as you're about to see, when you've got these extreme, we mentioned this yesterday, didn't we? When you have extreme values in the data, the average chases those extreme values. His extreme was extremely low. So the average chased the low values and heads towards those. But the median and the mode don't care about those rare extreme values. They care about the more typical values. His GPMs were very close to 4.0. I think 3.8, 3.9 or something like that. Now, I can't, correlation does not imply causation. But after my letter went into him, he got a scholarship. Correlation does not imply causation. I'm going to take full credit. Go ahead, Davidson, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just congratulating you.
Oh no, congratulate him. It made my day. But that's the thing. Don't accept something just because it's always been done that way. Express it a different way. It's funny, I've told this story to other administrators and they said, yeah, we hear that kind of stuff, not all the time, but more than just you doing it. So people are doing that. If something in your lives is based on a GPA and you have one of those terms where it kind of varies and you want to try a GPN, write a letter to whoever the decision-making body is and explain to them, look, this is my more typical result. Don't focus on the extreme outlier, rare result. Focus on the more typical result. See what I'm getting at? Yeah, and it worked. It worked for him, and hopefully it never has to work for you guys, because I'm sure you guys kicked butt just like he did.